begin first. No pun intended, but we will begin first
With
with first, I guess. Yeah. This map just got ranked, like literally, like just got ranked. It's Juan Cristo's first ranked map. And when we say about Juan Cristo, we just associate it with long notes. So this one is slightly inverse. It is quite straightforward, long notes, nothing too bad.
it has some tricky patterns, but it's some difficult releases, but nothing too bad. It's quite consistent in difficulty, if I remember correctly, too.
Hold on, I think Minnesota has to turn up the volume first. Let me just check the screen. Hold on. Okay, I think we're good to go. I think I'll just restart this first. Hello everyone, welcome to the classic Mappool second half showcase. For this, we're going to showcase the 16 maps of the second half. In order, we'll have starting with long notes, followed by stamina accuracy, followed by jacks, followed by speed, followed by technical, followed by SVs, and then finally the tiebreaker. So we will begin with first. This one's by Juan Cristo, and it's a long note map. Some simple inverse, and it's quite straightforward. So this shouldn't really be big of a problem to some players. Vento?
Hello there.
I think I'll jump straight into the map first.
It has some tricky releases, but it's quite consistent in difficulty.
All right.
So that
of
was
course.
a quiet showcase of first because my
Mhm.
client refused to download the map. So
Rip. Okay, we'll be going into the second map, which will be. Let me just switch over to it first. It will be called Zenaku no Itadaki ni Aru Shinjitsu. This song was used in the Chinese Mania tournament this year, and it's 140 BPM. There's some odd releases, there's some little bit of inverses. If this was part of the 3 maps for actually this second half map pool, I would pick this map, to be honest, amongst the 3 that we'll be showcasing here, the LMs.
and I haven't seen this before, so
I can't speak today, man. Alright, we'll be going into this one.
so going into here the second map of the pool, second Ellen map as well. As you can see early on, it has some tricky releases with some, so to speak, inconsistent long notes and the way that they are sized, essentially. First and foremost, it's a long note release based map, not too fast. Could trip some players up because Rianos managed to get an early drop, but it's not too bad in terms of difficulty. Some players will be considering this an accuracy-based one. Although you definitely need to be very focused to not drop any accuracy. Not too fast, so all players should be able to keep up. A few faster inverse sections. Definitely ups in difficulty a bit towards the end, gets a bit more difficult. Here at the very end, you definitely need to be wary of your releases. And the map finishes with a bit of a slow jam.
Yeah, slightly
going into
slow
the
jam.
last.
Alright, so that is Zenaku no Itadaki ni Aru Shinjitsu. Finally, we'll be moving on to, in my opinion, one of the most fun maps to play this year, Dive to Blue by LFE. This one is, to some, or probably to majority, the easiest LN map out of the 3. This one has speed LNs, there's a slight SB, some curve transitions. That's about it. Quite straightforward.
Since I haven't seen this map either, I don't have a lot to say before it starts.
I'm actually having trouble to ready for some reason.
Blame Bancho. So hopefully we'll be going into it soon. It seems like we're having a bit of issues. Breakfast talk. Okay. So, I actually had a more interesting sandwich today than I usually do. I mean, that might be interesting to someone. Well, looking like Raveille is having some issues. Okay. It's looking like Raveille is back into the MP room, and Raveille's back into the voice chat as well. Hello, welcome back.
Hello. Apparently my... Hold on. I think my Wi-Fi overheated. Then it fucked itself in the ass. Yeah. I think it's fine now. I think I will just begin. I think I won't speak anymore. We'll just begin this.
Okay then.
Excuse me, guys.
Hello?
How do I help? I mean, how do I commentate to the stream? I need to know that. Raveille.
So we're actually live right now. So anything you say now is heard on the stream.
Oh, shit.
We're watching the live showcase of the second half of Classic D. Of the second half of Classic.
It's like I have to watch the stream in order to commentate on it.
So far, the start of the map seems to be a bit more intense in terms of difficulty. Right now, we're in a bit of a calmer section, mostly accuracy-based patterns. Not a lot of long notes at all, actually, for a long note map at this point, but I'm expecting them to kick back in soon. About half the map left now, and the long notes come back in. A bit of difficult releases. Some long note streams, which might trip up some people's accuracy a lot. The releases seem to be quite consistent in terms of snap, but they can still be quite difficult. Mostly accuracy-based patterns with some bursts of inverse here and there. I think this is going to be, out of all the LN maps, this is probably going to be picked the most. It seems to have the most friendly pattern, so to speak. So that will be the third map, Dive to Blue.
Yep, that will be the third and final long note map. So we can finally proceed on to the stamina accuracy maps, which the first one will be Inferno by Noxus. This is Veiladix difficulty. For Inferno, this one is most likely going to be speed, a little bit of speed. It's jump streams, it's pitch relevancy jump streams. It's kind of okay-ish. And this might also get picked quite a bit, in my opinion.
So this is another map I haven't seen before. It's going to be a lot of these. I know this map set, at least, although I've only played the Shoegazer difficulty. This one should definitely not be as difficult as that difficulty, though, because this is the classic half. Mostly just jump streams so far, with a bit of pauses in terms of slight jack-ish patterns. Going into a faster jump stream section here. Relatively rolly as well. But lots of jump drills as well, although they aren't super quick. So I don't believe that many players will be having difficulties with those. A bit of a calmer section right around the middle, before it goes back into the same type of patterns that were in the first half, in the very first section of the map. But a bit of a calm before the storm section, presumably. Mostly accuracy patterns going into the ending. Although the very ending coming back to the faster rolls, roll type jump streams.
Alright, so that will be Inferno. Second map. Let me just check. Alright, second map is going to be very interesting because it might be a snooze fest to some people.
Oh.
It is Memoria Original Mix. This is the Lanes SC difficulty. I don't know, I would say that this map is comparable to the Glory Days in terms of length. This one is relatively easy because it's only 140 BPM. And legit, I can just say 4.5 stars is like an overstatement. It's pretty easy. Just imagine the Glory Days but harder. That is it. It's not that hard. It just tests your consistency. That's pretty much it. As long as you stay awake throughout the whole map, you should be fine. But if you do sleep halfway, then good luck to you.
Yeah, this is mostly based around jump trills, split hand trills throughout the entirety of the map. This is going to be based mostly on accuracy and consistency, nothing too tricky. But some players may be falling asleep, as Raveille mentioned, and that's not going to be helping at all.
Loading. Project. Memoria.
A bit of tricky patterns right at the start, and that's going to be about the only time we're going to see that. So as soon as the the song itself starts off, we're seeing a lot of split hand trills into hands. And this is how it's going to be for about the entire map. A few tricky mini-jacks in the slow section. Or the slower, I should say. A slow jump trill, which might catch some people off guard. I know certain players have difficulty getting proper accuracies on slower jump drills. As we can see, this pattern stay very, very consistent throughout the harder sections, going into jump trills and split hand trills of different sorts. A bit of a increase in hands here, I believe. Going back into the very, very slightly tricky patterning with a few trills. As there's a bit of calm here. You mainly need to focus on accuracy and getting proper ratio, because it can be somewhat tricky if you're not ready for it. Since you've just come out of a very, very different type of section. Right into the halfway point of the map. The patterns here are very, very consistent throughout. A few streams, quite slow, mainly based on accuracy, like everything else in this. Going into some jump trills that speed up quite considerably, and then right back into the split hand trill sections. Although this part is more focused on hand streams than the last section, so a bit more difficult. Another jump trill as the split hand trills return, still with the hand streams causing quite a significant increase in difficulty. Going into the end of the map now. It's going to be calming down a bit, going back into the split hand trills, so significantly reducing the hands featured. if you've fallen asleep at this point, you might be having issues getting proper accuracy. Although if you stay consistent throughout the entire map, you should be getting a good score. The only real part that can really trip you up, if you are consistent enough anyways, are the very fast jump chills. Only act patterns go throughout this section here, right before the ending. So if you can stay consistent on this is probably going to be a good pick for you. If you feel like you might fall asleep, this is not a good pick for you.
All right, that concludes the boring pick, in my opinion at least. Now we're going to move on to hopefully the more fun ones, something that could probably hype up the chat even more. We will be moving on to Kamome Sano Archive Zip by Exaria Sama. This is the gravity difficulty.
So this map set, at least, was featured in Rhythm Rivals as well.
Yeah, I did. I think it's one of the easiest. Was it the Bankers?
Yeah, it's an easy.
It's one of them. It's one of the easier ones, definitely. This one is 185 BPM. It's slightly slower than Inferno. There are some 1/6 bursts at the first half of the song, and then it's just 1/4 jump streams at the end. It's just generic 1/4 jump streams. A little bit of a speed. Might drain your stamina. I don't know, but otherwise, very generic pick. I think I'd say that this can be a popular pick as well, together with Inferno.
Yeah, this one gets quite a lot more difficult towards the end. Although, if your accuracy is up to par, if your speed is up to par, you should definitely be getting a good score on this map, as it doesn't feature anything too tricky, if I remember correctly. Although it does feature a bit more of a bit of a difficult spike towards the end. A few long notes as well, but not too difficult to get proper accuracy on.
The map contains a lot of long notes, but it's not that hard. Common long notes.
So as we can see there, it's amazingly based on accuracy patterns. For start having a bit of speed as well. A few long notes, as I mentioned before, but nothing too difficult. The snaps are quite consistent. A few jump trills as well, and as we're going towards the ending, some more jumps throughout around the halfway point. A few jump trills mixed in as well to keep you on your toes. We're reaching the ending here. This is quite a difficult section. It's very fast, has quite fast jump stream. So if you're not super confident with your speed, you might be struggling. The split hand trill right at the end can really trip a lot of players up too, no matter their skill.
Yeah, it seems like Rion Alaska has better accuracy than
Alright, so that concludes the third one, the third stamina accuracy pick. The final one is also something pretty interesting. We'll move on to Joe-E Platinum, mapped by Rival 7. This is once again the hardest difficulty of the map as well. Special level 16. 182 BPM, just slightly slower than Archive Zip. There are some minor SVs to this song, and I think they're mostly at the front part, the intro. Might trip up some people if they're not awake. And the long notes are pretty straightforward. It's probably the same as Archive Zip. So this might be an identical pick to Archive Zip, except that these SVs might trick up players more. Generally just hand streams. That's about it.
So this map is this is ranked actually. Just like actually all of the speed or like the consistency based maps here we've seen are ranked, I believe. This one does feature quite a lot of tricky patterns. With a few gluts, and mini jacks as well, which might trip a lot of players up, the mini jack specifically. Lots of hands right into the beginning, going into the jump drill as well. If you're not prepared for the SVs, you might be caught off guard as well. LNs here with quite consistent snapping, so they shouldn't be too much of an issue, but you might be caught off guard. Going into a hand stream section, quite light hand stream, but nothing to scoff at. Mainly the difficulty in this map is around in my opinion, based on the mini jacks and some of the SVs as well might trip you up. It is quite fast, but Gravity Sip is faster. No, Gravity Sip, Archive Sip, excuse me. A few bursts here in faster streams is not going to be helpful for certain players. It can be very easy to drop accuracy there. And a bit of a slow jam here, about 2/3 into the map. Some bursts in these streams might take a toll on your accuracy. Going into the very ending now, which is going to be featuring more fast sections, I believe, or not. Mainly based on long notes and holding consistent accuracy. Going at the very end, back to the hand streams, where you definitely need to be consistent, or you might trip up quite a bit.
Alright, and that will conclude the stamina accuracy section. We're going to move on to the jacks. And the first one is actually the easiest map in terms of star rating of all the maps here. I wouldn't say this is the easiest though. This is 210 BPM jacks. Yeah, this one's very quick. There's half jump jacks, there's triples, there's quads. It is also, I think, on the dot 4 minutes. So this is going to be very interesting once people actually pick this one, because there might be some jacks that will throw people off.
And we'll be going into the first jack map. As Raveille mentioned, it's 210 BPM and it features quite a lot of variety, although it does have the lowest star rating of the entire map pool, apparently.
without you in it. All of the joy that I had known for all my life was stripped away from me the minute that you died. To have you in my life was all I ever wanted, but now without you, I'm my soul forever haunted.
Going into the first section, a bit of mini jack-ish patterns with the hands, Some of these jump drills having a bit of a transition in between them, so to speak. Quite tricky patterning on these jacks. Longer anchor jacks there. If you're not that consistent at jacks, this can really be a difficult map for you. It's 210 BPM, but it doesn't follow the beat, every single beat, so it's not extremely fast. Going into an increased difficulty section here, about a fourth into the map, featuring lots of jacks. Here with going from a single note to a hand to a quad quite often. Going into a few jump quad stream-ish patterns. Few anchor jacks here with lots of jumps and hands. About a halfway through the map, lots of anchors in that section can definitely trip you up if you aren't too focused, or definitely be detrimental to your axe. Some faster streams there. Ooh, that LN might actually trip up a lot of players if they aren't prepared. About 2/3 into the map, going back into the hand quad section. Getting a bit more consistent in terms of jacking here. Moving into some trickier patterns, although if you're not being focusing too hard, you might trip up on those. Generally a consistency-based jack map. Moving into the very ending here, I presume we're going back into the hand and quad sections, and we are. Ooh, very difficult section, spike in difficulty there for a short moment. And with that, that will be the first jack pick finished. Mainly, I'd say, based around accuracy and consistency. As we can see, Rionosk, they are only getting 1/200, and quite an impressive and a very impressive ratio as well.
Yeah, that's a very good score. Oh my gosh. Anyways, when there is a long map, there will be a short map, and the the next map is let's just say the TV size. This one is Responsibility Response by Wonky. This song is part of the anime Another, if you guys are not familiar with this song. But I think it's pretty popular in standard, and this is 202 BPM. It's quad jump jacks, and as what Abraxos has said in the comments here, jazzy bouncy song. You can info that as much as you want.
It's nice. It's nice. Going into it here, the second Jack pick, responsibility, response, insane difficulty. 202 BPM Jack map. A bit slower than the other one, although I'm not quite sure how the patterns are mapped. A tricky split hand drill might trip you up in the beginning. This one is definitely way more consistent in terms of jacks and generally note placings, a lot less breaks. Some players will be able to get a very good score on this, as some players are extremely good at jacks. A few LNs to trip you up a bit. If you're not being focused, you might drop them. If you might drop them. Going into quad section here, actually. Lots of quads into jumps and single notes. A few hands as well. This one can definitely trip you up if you aren't too comfortable with jacks. A few long notes as well to keep you on your toes. Going right into the ending here. And a slight burst there right after the LN, which might trip up some accuracy. And as we can see here, both players getting very impressive scores.
I could beat him.
What? Only 1/200 from Raveille, although a bit better ratio from Ryunosk.
Rest in peace. My ratio is still Mimi. Anyway, that concludes jacks. We're gonna move on into speed, and the next map is not necessarily one of the easiest speed picks out of all of the speed maps that we have decided to go for. This one is, I say, in my opinion, the hardest map of the map pool.
Okay.
Our Faith by Evening. This is 1.1 times 4.66 stars. It is 203 BPM. There are some 1/6 rolly bursts, and the ending is let's just say if you screw up the ending, you are most likely going to screw up your team. So this is a very interesting pick if a team decides to go for it, because it either shows that they are super well prepared or they just want to shoot themselves in the foot.
So this is one of the few maps I actually know from before this. It does get very fast. The ending, as Raveille didn't go too deep into explanation, it's filled with it jumps into single note trills, which can be very difficult, especially at this speed, to nail down properly. It also has quite a lot of variation, I'd say, in the patterning it uses, or at least plenty of bursts, if I remember correctly, which might be difficult for certain players to get proper accuracy on. A bit of somewhat tricky LN in the beginning. And as we can see, these patterns are very fast. They aren't too consistent. As I mentioned, they're more burst-based, but they are very fast. Plenty of jumps, plenty of streams. Lots of burst towards the end there, and jacks going into the end of the first fast section. And we're already a third through the map, as this is on an already quite short song on 1.1 rate, which means it's 10% faster. Lots of mini jacks, which might trip a lot of players up. And we're going to be going into the ending here, and you'll see what Raveille and I was talking about as it goes into streams and lots of jumps and single note trills. right at the end, we're having some really fast stream patterns. Here we go with the jumps and single notes trills. Also, a few hands here and there would really be detrimental to a lot of players. Lots of small jacks towards the end there. As we can see, this is definitely one of the hardest maps of the pool, as far as I've understood.
Alright, that will be the first speed map. Second speed map, we will be moving to Shoegazer. We have Scarlet Tempest, and this is 165 BPM. There are 16 non-rolly streams. So this map, according to Abrax, you need endurance and you need speed. So does endurance, I think you will have to keep consistent in the streams and keep focused, because if you lose your focus, you're gonna break one of those streams and you're gonna miss a lot of notes. So I can infer, because this is 16 streams.
This is definitely going to be tripping some players up. 1/6 generally not being very common. With the speed of this as well and not being rolly, you're going to be, yeah, as Raveille mentioned, lots of endurance required for this. We'll be moving into it here, the second speed-based map with Scarlet Tempest by Shoegazer. And as you can expect from Shoegazer, I'm expecting generally technical patterns as well as the 1/6 patterns, as well as the 1/6 streams that have already been mentioned. Start not being super complicated. A few long notes which will definitely be able to trip you up. Some tricky patterning towards the start of the map. And here we go into the streams, and as Raveille mentioned, these are very difficult to hit consistently. 1/6 at 165 BPM. This is going to take lots of focus, lots of consistency, and lots of endurance to be able to hit properly. Moving in some jump trills-ish things. Well, there are jumps and there are trills, but not quite jump trills. Ooh, and that's the end. That's about halfway through the map. Going into some more tricky burst-ish stream patterning, although I believe it's still the same 1/6 as before. About a break about 2/3 through the map, which might be a good chance to recover a bit of focus. Although it might be also difficult, since you might be seeing how many points your opponents have, and that could be not helping. Going back into the streams about almost 3/4 into the map. Seems like we're having a bit of technical issues. Well, it's gonna be quite. It's a difficult one, I can say for sure.
Did the map not show?
Likely not.
Oh god. Do we have to restart this? We have to restart this map because we have to show all the maps on stream. Hold on.